Welcome to this explainer. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We are applying a highly analytical, serious lens to a surprisingly complex, high-stakes, literary universe, the world of classic childhood nursery rhymes, or as we're calling it today, the Balgeet universe. Now, usually you hear these verses and you're just bopping along to the catchy melodies, right? We completely ignore the wild narratives actually embedded in them. But when you dive into the source text, oh boy, you find a world absolutely packed with intricate power dynamics, systemic infrastructure failures, and some incredibly strict rules for survival.
I mean, just think about it. What do a dancing bear, a super arrogant horse, and a tomato that literally gives ants the strength to fight elephants all have in common? On the surface, it sounds like absolute chaos, right? But believe it or not, they all inhabit a fascinating, occasionally surreal world that operates on very, very specific laws. So let's unpack exactly how this society functions.
All right, moving into part 1, the Animal Kingdom Menagerie. To really wrap our heads around this universe, we've got to look at the sheer scale of the inhabitants. It is an incredibly dense, diverse society. We've got 12 distinct animal species right here. Everything from everyday pets to massive wild beasts like bears, hippos, and elephants. But here's the kicker. They aren't just isolated in the wild. They're actively coexisting with human onlookers and handlers. You have characters like the trainer Chalu with his bear, and very specific human audiences, Gita, Raju, Pooja, Harsh. It's this bustling, integrated ecosystem where humans and animals are constantly crossing paths.
And beyond just existing, these animals have massive personalities. Take this green parrot, for example. This isn't just some bird flapping around in the sky. Oh no. It explicitly identifies as an artist and a mimic. It struts around with this distinct swagger, showing off its red beak, enthusiastically eating its fruits and veggies. This sets a huge baseline for our universe. The animals here, they possess distinct, human-like talents, incredible self-awareness, and a really strong sense of identity.
Which brings us to part 2, the super-powered tomato.
So, let's talk about how power actually works in this world. There's this surreal power-up mechanic introduced by, of all things, a vegetable, a tomato. Now, in the real world, a cat eats a mouse, an elephant crushes an ant. That's just nature. But here, consuming this specific tomato acts as a magical equalizer. It instantly grants the eater the physical dominance to totally crush their natural predators or literally defeat giants. A mouse eats it, chases away the cat. An ant eats it, takes down an elephant. A monkey beats up a hippo. And even a really skinny guy can suddenly overpower a much larger opponent. It is a complete inversion of the biological hierarchy, all localized within a piece of produce.
And that perfectly explains this recurring, super joyous refrain in the text. Oh, tomatoes are highly entertaining. You see, the text doesn't look at this broken food chain as a tragedy. It totally celebrates this chaotic inversion of power. It's a bizarre, yet honestly brilliant mechanism for the underdogs of this universe. Basically, if you're at the bottom of the food chain, hey, you aren't defenseless. You just need to get your hands on the right vegetable.
Now let's shift gears to part 3, the butterflies' travel woes.
Away from the magic tomatoes, the folks in this universe face some very relatable, modern struggles. Let's follow this butterfly's documented journey. For whatever reason, she can't fly, so she tries to navigate the public transit system, and it is an absolute logistical nightmare. She systematically fails to find a seat across 3 escalating modes of transit. First, she boards a bus. No seat, so she cries. Then she escalates things and boards a train. Still no seat, cries again. Finally, she actually boards a plane, and you guessed it, 0 seats available. It is a literal masterclass in infrastructural frustration.
But here's the crucial takeaway. Look at how she responds to this crisis. In every single vehicle, someone actually offers to share a spot with her. The driver, then a monkey, then a rabbit, and her response? A sassy, immediate rejection. Every single time. She basically says, "Move away, rascal. My house is near anyway." So she's actively choosing to endure the tears and the frustration just to enforce her strict personal boundaries. She refuses to compromise her independence for a comfortable commute. Honestly, kinda iconic.
Moving right along to part 4, strict rules of survival.
Now, despite the whimsical transport options and the boundary-setting butterflies, make no mistake, this world is governed by some harsh, immovable laws of nature. Take the fish, affectionately known as the Queen of Water. The rules for her existence are entirely binary and totally uncompromising. If she stays in the water, her designated environment, she lives and swims freely. But if an outsider touches her, immediate panic. And worse, if she steps or is pulled outside that environmental boundary, it results in instant death. There's no gray area here. Survival absolutely requires strict adherence to the environmental rules.
It's the exact same for the cat, who operates within a super rigid survival hierarchy. Her entire behavior is dictated by who is in the room. When there's milk or sweet kefir, she drinks it instantly. When she spots a mouse, absolute predatory confidence, chases it down ruthlessly. But the actual second a dog shows up, the hierarchy shifts and she executes an instant non-negotiable retreat. Survival in this universe means knowing exactly where you stand on the ladder, at all times.
And that brings us to part 5, the arrogant horse's journey. For our final character study, let's look at how this universe handles unchecked arrogance colliding with harsh reality. We can trace the geographical progress of this very pampered horse. It all starts with a crazy catalyst. The horse is struck by a hammer. But instead of normal horse behavior, it sprints, tail up, right to the town square, the choke, where a barber gives it a shave and some grooming. Make it make sense, right? Then it races onward to the Sabzi Mandi, the vegetable market, where it hits some ice and just abruptly freezes. It's this chaotic, rapid-fire timeline of a creature bouncing wildly from pure vanity to intense physical discomfort.
And what makes this horse so fascinating is its incredibly complex identity. The source text paints this picture of a creature that is, yes, struck by a hammer, but is also undeniably arrogant, padded with thick layers of fat, and struts around with this visible swagger. Yet despite all the arrogance and the chaotic behavior, the narrator continually affirms that the horse is ours. It really forces us to reconcile these complex ownership dynamics. We claim ownership and affection for a creature that is honestly super flawed and incredibly difficult to manage. So, to wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought. Is the true lesson of these rhymes that no matter how many times the world denies you a seat, you must always, always maintain your personal boundaries? I mean, we started out looking at dancing bears and superpowered tomatoes, but beneath all the catchy tunes, we've uncovered a world of strict survival hierarchies, complex character flaws, and rigid independence. Perhaps these verses aren't just simple little rhymes after all. Maybe they're our earliest, most brilliant masterclass in resilience and setting strict limits. Thanks so much for exploring the Balgeet universe with me. Until next time, keep analyzing the story.